All right. I've been getting the eyes in the studio since we gathered here tonight for our taping of the Sports Pod. Why didn't we pick Miami and Georgia Tech? I know. Don't worry. I did wrong last week. And congrats. Let me just get this out of the way early. Congrats to Ole Miss and Alabama for staying alive with their playoff hopes. There is just a wild playoff scenario that we have to talk to. But you're probably wondering who in the hell is talking to me right now. I am Jared Yamamoto, and you typically hear me on radio in Atlanta, Georgia, on 95.5 WSB. I got a couple shows there. Nightcap with Jared Yamamoto and the Von Hessler Doctrine. But thankfully for you, I don't do this show by myself. I've dragged my buddies along with me, whether they like it or not. Alex Williams, he's my buddy. Also works at WSB as well, but he is a die-hard Alabama fan. Just literally that smile, that grin. Been loving this past week here. To the left of Alex Williams is my brother-in-law, Dan Z, an Ohio State grad, the Big Ten correspondent of the show, and the commissioner, as MikeB has coined later on in the show.
That's
Speaking
right.
of MikeB, coming in from the KB and Campbell studios. Did I get it right this time, MikeB?
Cade and Campbell B. You're going to mess up our money. Don't mess up this money.
I know that sponsorship is expensive, but
NIL is cheap.
Glad to have you with
to
us.
To hell with Ole Miss, whatever.
We will we'll find out who Mike B's team of the week is this week. And last, but she probably is the least, but we still love her regardless.
Aww.
Nicole
Bennett,
UGA alum on the panel.
I mean, I was okay, and geez,
Wow.
Jared, that really.
He was talking about Selection Sally. Don't do Nicole like
Man,
that.
yeah. That's who you're getting me confused with. Is Selection
wow.
Sally.
She hadn't said anything to you all year.
That's true. Sally has been quite calm with you, Nicole, and I get it. I just feel for you. I feel like I need to get some of the punches out of the way early because of the horrible weekend you went through as a Georgia fan. Because obviously the spotlight of the college football world was firmly on the state of Georgia. I know everybody. I mean, I was getting texts everywhere talking about this one story in particular, the Kennesaw State coaching situation. Did he step down or was he fired? Yeah, I'm talking about Brian. What did you think about the Georgia Ole Miss game? You thought that was the story? No. The big story is Brian Bohannon. There is a controversy going on in the Atlanta metro area at Kennesaw State on whether Brian Bohannon, who has started up the Kennesaw football program, on whether or not he was fired yesterday or whether or not he was let go. I mean, it is literally ripping the internet apart. What, Alex, you seem surprised by that. You want me to talk about Ole Miss and Georgia. Dan, you probably want me to talk about Miami and Georgia Tech. No. This is the story. This is the spotlight of the college football world. Am I wrong there, Mike B? You know it. People are talking about it.
Listen, that man got fired. Let's just call it what it is. That man got fired. The athletic director to my, I thought he accepted my offer. No, he didn't. That man went to step down from his job. Please.
Yeah, it's so funny how things pick up steam like this. I feel like a lot of UGA peeps out there were using this story as a way to distract away from the weekend that they had. Now, obviously, Brian Bohannon, I'm sure he's a great guy, but the only win that they have this year at Kennesaw State is against Liberty, and they won on a Thursday. It was kind of a fluke game. Kennesaw State wants to win now. They're spending a ton of money. Their alumni are hungry. And here in the metro Atlanta area, they certainly want to be up there with the Georgias and the Georgia Techs. But we will get to the real spotlight of the college football world because, I mean, on one hand, we should have picked the Miami Georgia Tech game last week because the Jackets pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the year. But because of what happened later on that night, they were overshadowed by the Dogs just getting embarrassed in Oxford. So we will praise the Jackets, but again, just another miserable performance from the Dogs. And I'm sorry, miserable in all caps. And if that wasn't enough, the crowd stormed the field early with 16 seconds left, and a member of the Dogs, I feel like this guy's name is being plastered all over the internet. He's a kid like that. He's a backup safety. I feel like I want to be careful mentioning his name here. But a member of the Dogs was seen celebrating with Ole Miss after they stormed the field too. So this is just like smack on top of smack on top of smack here. So it's time for the gut check. And I talked to my resident dog here, Nicole Bennett. What is wrong with UGA?
Well, we start from, essentially the captain of your offense, quarterback Carson Beck, cannot find a rhythm. It's not just interceptions. And then it was our entire offense. It's turnovers. Frazier turned it over at a really, really pivotal point in the game. Our offensive line was not effective. I know we've been a little banged up, but there's no excuse for how they performed this past Saturday. And now we're in danger of missing the playoffs. So it's almost like I kept hearing some of the talk during the game. Carson Beck has really reassessed this past week and said he's been meditating and trying to, find his rhythm. And I think it's almost like we've overcorrected. And it was like there were a couple of moments during the game where they panned to the sideline and he looked defeated, and then he'd be laughing with someone about something. And I was like, no, no, you can't pretend nothing's wrong, So it really starts with the offense, and then it makes the job harder for the defense. It really is all around.
The defense, as we've brought up multiple times here on Sports Pod, has bailed Carson Beck out. He would be on the bench on several other big college football programs. Not many other quarterbacks out there are blessed with the defense of the UGA Bulldogs right now. All right, Mike B, you looked at the game. You and I picked UGA here, but my goodness, I mean, that was just ugly watching that game, right?
Kirby got to get control of those guys. We talked about this with Nick Saban and Bama last couple years, and now you got to get control of your team. We already talked about off-season stuff. Now we get in season. There's number one team. Then they stop being a number one team. Now you're top 5. Now you move down to we'll get to the rankings. I don't want to spoil it. You gotta get control of your team once more. That's just what it is. The defense, as good as they are, shouldn't be bailing out the offense, and that offense is going to have to come together. You got to put points on the board. That's the only way you're gonna win.
Yeah,
but I still got them. I'm picking Georgia. Gonna put me in for a double lock. Whatever.
Okay, all right, double lock early. Look, we'll go on and introduce selections. How to start.
The pick is in.
She has already been introduced on the show. Therefore, she can actually lock in picks. I like that. Might be sticking with the dogs regardless. Now I figure. Okay, so we heard from the true fans over on the UGA side. Now let's go over to Alex Williams here for a second, because Alex, I mean, I'm sure you had a bit of a grin watching Ole Miss take care of Georgia.
Best wrong pick I've made all year.
See, exactly. I'm sure you're feeling good about it. So what went wrong here?
Big Kirby fan. I will say, I've said it all the time on the show, even in Georgia, big Kirby fan. I think Mike hit the nail on the head. You got to get your team under control. They win in that game. I think that they were too cocky. I don't think Carson Beck's a leader. I've seen other quarterbacks, of course, including Jalen Milroe, standing on the sideline, high-fiving the defense, high-fiving the special teams when they come off the field, standing in the tunnel, going to the locker room halftime, won't go in until he's high-fived everybody coming off the field. Carson Beck sits down, looks down at a tablet, and then smiling. See no leadership. He doesn't know how to handle stressful situations. Him and his receivers aren't on the same page. Kirby seems to care more and have more voiced opinion about a kid celebrating with a friend on the field than he does about kids getting arrested in the offseason.
That part right there.
Just saying.
Yeah, there's certainly some trouble going on.
Or when he said the crowd needs to be more into the game. I remember thinking, is this kind of a deflection? Because we can't play the game for them, So
I think with the Carson Beck thing, people get all up in arms about benching him. I think benching sometimes coaches, you don't do it because he sucks. I mean, partially you do, but you do it to send a message and to motivate them, saying if you can't get it done, I will find somebody that can.
That's right.
Yeah, you certainly have to look at it from that point. And I'm glad both you and Nicole brought up the smiling angle there too, because I mean, that did not look good at all either.
He's not dumb. Cameras are on you all the time. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing there. And with 2 losses, I mean, we're going to talk about how crowded the SEC field is here in a second. But I feel like now Dan's going to give a unique take on this because he's a Big Ten guy. You probably don't care for Ole Miss either. But, looking at this, you probably can give an honest assessment here. What went wrong for Georgia in this game?
I'll give a little bit more during my victory lap, but
don't spoil it. That's true. In Dan's defense, he was the only one that picked Ole Miss. We all picked Georgia.
I think Beck got a lot of his inefficiencies were covered last year with a great offensive line, a great defense.
Mhm.
Got a lot of weapons. They had Bowers, they had receivers, they had running backs.
Yeah, Lad McConkey.
Like this year, he doesn't have all those weapons, so it is kind of on him to put a lot on his shoulders. And he is they pushed this ad on the line, and I found it. He became the second quarterback in the 132-year history of Georgia to throw 12 interceptions in a 6-game span. That's bad. You were saying to send a message, but he's also plain awful.
It's both.
But when I was watching that game, I think was it the first drive, Dart got hurt and threw a pick 6, and I was like, I'm like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a bad pick for me. But they blitzed Beck. They were after him the whole game, and he could not handle that, like the pressure they were putting after him. I was shocked how well Ole Miss's defense played. Like
I've seen things that said Lane Kiffin built that defense for this game.
Yeah, like they were after him, and they rushed the ball. Georgia rushed the ball 32 times for 60 yards. They averaged 1.9 yards a carry.
That's what I was going to say. It's like on the other side of it, Ole Miss played like their lives depended on it because they did, and so the momentum, as soon as it was almost like this was the game they'd prepared for
Ohio State knows this, Alabama knows this, Georgia needs to know this, that when you're going to play as one of the top ranked teams, you're going to have a bullseye on you all year, no matter who you play.
And in the past, they've done well, and they've defended that, and they've done a great job. This year, the team, I just think they lack some key positions.
They have a championship caliber defense. I think the best defense in the country, but your offense, if you continue to put your defense in bad situations, then it's going to catch up with you. And that's exactly what happened in Oxford. And you have to be able to play in all conditions too. I know that the conditions, I know people are like, well, it was raining, it was terrible. I'm like, Ole Miss had to play through the same conditions too. Right. And Jackson Dart is a pass quarterback as well too. Like Ole Miss, if they have their way, they're going to want to pass first too. And so they had to play through the same conditions too. So I just don't buy that argument. And people might think like, Jared, you're being hard on UJ. No, I'm not. I'm just being honest. Like it's disappointing to see.
Somebody needs to be hard on him.
Yeah, somebody needs to be hard. I mean, I feel like for Carson Beck, this should be the wake up call that he needs. A lot of talk about him. I brought it up last week. You guys said I was nuts for bringing it up last week. Nicole, the gut check time. Is it time to bench Beck?
Oh gosh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Here's my fear. This is really where, okay, I would say, and I agree with, I'm very hard on Georgia. I'm nervous all the time for them. So I would say yes, but
all the time in general.
I am, but I would say yes. I would say yes this week. However, the immediate afterthought and fear I have is it because we don't have anybody else? Because I would hope that knowing Kirby, he may have done that by now. I don't know, because we don't usually do well in the quarterback position. We talked about that last week too. So I say yes, but I also don't know who's the back. I don't know what our depth is at quarterback. Right.
That's a very fair assessment to take. MikeB,
you don't have nobody.
Okay,
you don't have nobody. You don't have nobody. None of these guys. You don't know who these guys are. He is your starter. Slap him in the face a good couple of times outside the helmet. You get him in the office, jack him up. No cameras, no recordings. He gonna go out there and do good this week.
That's Georgia's fault for putting themselves in that position. I mean, they don't have depth at quarterback.
But they've been doing it. They've been doing it. We've talked about that for years with Georgia. They've been doing that.
Yeah, it's now it's illuminating itself right here. Dan, same question to you. Well, just like last week, is it time to bench Beck?
He's been terrible. Problem is you're going with what you know you're going to get, where he can have good games. Like he did have a bad start against Texas, but ended up throwing 3 touchdowns to you don't know. And you're going into a night game against Tennessee with the rest of your season on the line. Do you throw that to a freshman? Do you throw it to someone who's never started? My answer is no. I don't think you can make the switch, even though he hasn't played well. He's at least been in those moments. So like he can, I guess
it helps to have the veteran experience.
You have a veteran experience. That's where I think you gotta keep him in there, because you just throw into an unknown. I can't see that happening, especially such a big game on the line this weekend.
Now, Nicole, were you before I moved to my take on this? I wanted to just play this for you. Remember last week we thought this guy was crazy.
Yes, it's time to bench his idiot Beck. This guy's an idiot. Heisman Trophy candidate, my butt.
My flagship station, WSB, or our flagship station, WSB, is the carrier of the dogs, and we have an open mic feature where people can leave their commentary on there. I loved that one because a lot of people were feeling that there. I think, Nicole, last week you were like, no. I think you're, as the UGA grad, I think you're really leaning towards him now, right?
Well, it's because I guess this is simple for me, is I want to say yes, but I don't think we can, is my assessment.
Okay.
So no, I'm not saying bench his butt or whatever that guy said, but I'm just, yeah, okay, I'm frustrated, but I'm kind of with your assessment so far, as I agree. I don't know if this is the game to do that.
Okay,
So,
now my last question about Beck, because I realize we're being hard on him. Like, I mean, I guess on one hand, like, I mean, he's making plenty of money in NIL, and he's still, believe it or not, I don't know.
Right there, that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe he's just happy right now. You know, a lot of people are blaming. He's dating one of the Cavender twins. I think he's dating Haley Cavender.
I have no idea who that is.
So they're two women's basketball players. They're twins that play for Miami, and a lot of people are kind of basketball players, but also influencers at the same time too. Not as great at basketball, probably better influencers. And people have been going after the Cavender twins, saying you're distracting Beck. But I'm like, how many other quarterbacks out there? Okay, MikeB, I see you shaking your head there. You got something to say? Go ahead. Should they be blaming the Cavender twins for Carson Beck's play right now?
Add that to the list. Do you remember that damn call he got? What was that call we talked about?
That's right. I forgot all about that. Good point.
He done lost his mind, and coach need to go upside his head. That's
okay, all right. So talk about actual discipline there. Yes, Alex, you were saying?
I've heard that maybe a threat to him is Kirby Smart's going to take a part from his Lamborghini every time he throws an interception, and take a bat to something different on his Lamborghini.
I would.
Yeah, at this point,
I
mean, especially if you end up getting knocked out of the playoffs this week with College game day in town, Tennessee playing really well. I mean, it's you did not want to be in this scenario going into this game at this point in the season. All right, so a lot of Georgia, a lot. We'll get, believe me, that's the pick of the week right there. We're going to be picking Georgia and Tennessee later on in the show here. I do want to talk about Atlanta United, stunning, freaking Miami. What an amazing turnaround. Nobody expected Atlanta United to do that. And we also have got to give praise to, I mean, the spotlight of the sports world really was on Georgia. While Florida, man, they lost everything. Georgia ended up winning some significant games. The Yellow Jackets, freaking, I'll tell you, I when I saw that game, I was like, Haynes King's coming back. There's no way he's going to be healthy enough to make this competitive. And boy, was I wrong. 28-23, the Jackets end up beating Miami at home, Bobby Dodd Stadium. People end up storming the field. Now, I got to ask the commissioner, because you are a season ticket holder to the Jackets. Your wife is a season ticket holder. How bad did it feel to be sitting at home and not storming that field, knowing you could have been to that game?
That stunk. We were supposed to go. My daughter got sick, so we couldn't go.
Which is fair. You're being a good dad.
But we were like planning on going. But maybe I would have jinxed it. I don't know. It would have been great to be rushing the field. I did shotgun a few at the house to be part of the tailgate with the guys there. But yeah, it was really exciting. And I did watch this one at home. It was wild game. Where if you look at, it's one of those where like the time of possession, Tech did exactly what they wanted to do. Was like, we are going to run the ball pretty much every single play. They ran it 48 times and averaged 5.6 yards
in like the first quarter.
They averaged like almost 6 yards a carry and ran it 48 times. They only threw the ball 16 times. Like, you could tell Hayes King's shoulder was not.
He's not 100%.
So he was like, I really can't throw the ball. But you knew he was going to run it, and they still just ran it down Miami's throat. And around the outsides, they could get out. I mean, Ward still had his three TDs. They like kind of were like, we'll let you get your points, but we're going to just milk this clock. And they got a great fumble at the end, and yeah, it was awesome.
And you're not getting fined.
Well, they're not getting fined.
Well, I love how the ACC
doesn't have that.
ACC doesn't have that rule, and
the field.
they don't have a fine for storming the field, which I'm sure after looking at what's going on in the SEC, they're probably going to consider something like that going into next year. But I mean, it's just a good story overall. I know that Georgia Tech's not really playing for. I mean, they're playing to get a better bowl than what they're going to get. But
they're the little engineers that could, man.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Back-to-back years they took on the Hurricanes.
It does make you think that the true Georgia Tech fans are going to think, well, what if Haynes King didn't get hurt? You know, we probably would only have one loss. I heard some commentary about that while out in Carrollton enjoying the West Georgia Wolves game, and I heard people, and I'm like, you probably would still have two losses. I don't think, again, no offense to Georgia Tech fans, you're probably not a playoff team, but it certainly is exciting to see the program going in the right direction. I mean, MikeB, as a true Atlantan through and through, it's better when Georgia Tech plays better, right?
It's better. People love it. My dad absolutely loves it. It just adds to the Atlanta atmosphere. And they might not have those losses, Jared. You don't know that. Don't do that. He's a good quarterback. Don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him.
I think Haynes King has certainly been an improvement over the quarterbacks they've had over the last, 15 years for sure at Georgia Tech. But
we shouldn't have played Notre Dame at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We should have played at Bobby Dobb and let them people do what they do.
And next year too, they put the Georgia game there. It's going to be more Georgia fans than Georgia Tech fans. That's just a mistake overall.
I don't know. They coming up. I might put on some gold.
I heard somebody say it looks like there was honestly more Tech fans in the stadium at the end of the game than there was like almost at halftime. I don't know.
Maybe they were letting people in.
They got word that, hey, we might win this thing. They're like, all right, let's go.
If you've been to the campus, for those that haven't, like all the fraternity frats are right next to it. So they're probably like, well, crap, we're going to win this game.
Go. And the cool thing for Tech, too, another cool thing, people have called me like, it's just a pep rally for Georgia Tech. I'm like, no, we're not. We've called a couple of Tech games here.
They had a big boy out there performing before the game.
Oh yeah, they had him out, and it was also their homecoming week. Yeah, so that's always. Right. I mean, just remembering
on the cake,
remembering back to a homecoming. Like, I mean, that's just great when your team wins because then you go and the party just starts even better. Right? There were plenty of homecomings where I remember we lost, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, well, we lost.
Collapsible goalposts.
Yeah, and that was
tore it down. They took it to the president's house.
And, they dumped it in like the pond outside of the president's house. So good for Georgia Tech. Unfortunate that again the Dogs overshadowed you because of their poor performance in Oxford. So right now we're waiting for the updated college football playoff actual rankings here. So throughout the show, as we do our picks later on, we're going to use the AP just to be fair because it'll confuse the hell out of your host here by putting them side by side. So we'll just go on and use the AP post rankings. But if we get them while we're taping here this Tuesday night, then I will definitely make sure that Nicole brings them to you. So blame Nicole if we don't get them. That's the key here. I got to say, I know the SEC is just one of the many conferences out there, and the Big Ten certainly has a lot of paths for teams to get it. I mean, Indiana won again. Ohio State looks like they've had. Oregon looks freaking great. It looks like they might get 3 or 4 teams in the college football playoff right now. But right now, has anybody gone through the SEC championship scenario? I mean, we don't have an SEC East anymore. We don't have an SEC West anymore. It is the 2 top teams in the conference. And as of right now, you have a path for everyone. You have Texas A&M, Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, and yes, LSU is still in contention for the SEC championship. I mean, talk about chaos. Talk about a great first year for the playoff. Talk about like a sports-gasm, as I brought up on my radio shows before. I mean, this is exactly what you wanted going into this, right, Dan?
Yeah, this is it's crazy. And obviously Tennessee's going to play Georgia this weekend. So if Georgia beats Tennessee, they'll have 2 losses. Texas A&M and Texas play at the end of the year last week. So one of them's going to have 2 losses. There's a lot of scenarios in here that are going to have I don't even know what it goes to then. I think
it goes to the best, the head-to-head, and then if they didn't play each other, then it's the records of the other SEC opponents.
The opponents' records. Yeah. So
it's wild.
It might go down to that.
I read a New York Times article earlier just to like understand every scenario because I don't think they thought about this, MikeB. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, when we went away from the old SEC East and SEC West, I think they're like, oh yeah, we'll just pick the 2 top teams. Surely it'll play itself out, but I don't think they saw this scenario happening, right, Mike?
Definitely not. I think that's what's making this is what's going to make the better team play the better team, and I say that because Alabama and Georgia will be on one side of that ball. One of those teams is playing Texas for the SEC championship. That's what it's going to be. I'm calling it.
Okay, all right. I like it. I like that you're already locking it in now. And I mean, again, a lot of teams thought Alabama was dead. A lot of people thought LSU. It's they're still alive, believe it or not. I mean, Alex. I mean, this is exactly what you wanted as an SEC fan.
Leave LSU where they are. They're gonna play a nice bowl game.
They don't deserve. They don't deserve to be in it. But in SEC play, they are technically still alive. I mean, this is what we wanted, right?
Yeah. It really spreads what the option, like what y'all are just saying, the options you can see in the SEC championship, and it gives more opportunity outside of the winner automatically getting a bid. There's, it's not just going to be that one team and that's it.
Yes.
I think that makes it more fun. And I would have never thought coming into this season we'd be sitting here talking about, well, if this happens, then this has to happen, and then this. I mean, you talk about it all the time, but it gets even more interesting now that you don't have an East and West. You had the 12-team playoff. It just makes it like, yeah.
You have 8
I would
teams.
not want to be on the playoff.
Eight
committee.
teams in contention right now for the SEC title. I mean, okay, so Nicole, this is what we wanted, right? This is what we wanted going into the show.
Yes, because I'm thinking as you guys are talking, all the seasons that, when you've got the East and the West, and I had to hear, oh, the East doesn't even compare to the West. I've got a friend who's an LSU fan. You guys don't have to play Bama every year. You don't know what that's like. And now it's just eliminating all of that. And I think it's a good thing. I really do. It's more competitive. It's wild, probably because it's the first year it's happening, but it's kind of become the new normal eventually, and I think it's a good thing. I do.
It's going to impact recruiting long term. It's gonna probably level it out for a little while longer. And again, if you're just a football fan, I know there's a lot of people that are NFL purists out there. I love the NFL. I think it's a great product, and I think every given week, as we found out, fellow Falcons fans out there found out. I mean, any given week, a weaker team can come up and jump up and beat you.
Yeah,
and it's just. I think college football, you are starting to see the leveling out of the competition, and that just makes a better product for the fans. Every weekend we're going in there, and even on the weekends where we've said, the games aren't that great this weekend, they've ended up having at least 2 good games every single weekend. So good for college football for, jumping in here and at least in year one, certainly making things exciting. And I wanted to just give a shout out, honestly. I mean, I know we were kind of all doom and gloom on Georgia. Congrats to Ole Miss for having a great game plan too against Georgia. That was a great game plan to blitz back throughout that game and to make sure that you stop them. Whatever Florida was doing early in that game, they did the exact same thing. I was watching that strategy. I'm like, I think they were blitzing the free safety up each time, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's exactly what Florida was doing in their game until they didn't have the athletes to compete with them anymore. And Georgia just kind of wore them out. And congrats to Alabama. Oh my goodness. You know what? Freaking Alex Williams. I'm surprised you're not grinning more over there for taking care of LSU down in Baton Rouge. Your story gets buried because of all the great news out of the state of Georgia there. So you got to be feeling great, right?
I felt fantastic seeing that game. It was nice to see Jalen Milroe did what they talk about Jalen Milroe should be doing every game. You definitely didn't see it earlier this season in several games. I mean, we had 288 rushing yards, and he had 155 of those himself, 4 touchdowns. And the thing is, they talked about it on game day. Brian Kelly talked about it on game day. Stop Jalen Milroe. Stop Jalen Milroe. You stop that, we can control their offense. They didn't come close to stopping him.
Yeah, he is the key to your offense.
And I mean that their defensive coordinator on the sideline looked like a deer in the headlights. I don't know what the hell to do.
Well, I'm sure you got to be feeling great about it. And again, because of all these great games like that, it just gets kind of swept under the rug a little bit. It's just another win for Alabama in the conversation exactly where they should be. When a couple weeks ago, we were all pushing the panic button on them, much like how we're pushing the panic button on Georgia. So we'll see how all that ends up playing out. A couple other honorable mentions from the weekend. Good job to Kansas over Iowa State. Iowa State sliding. That's 2 losses in a row. Yep. They have now fallen out of the AP top 25. And MikeB, you got some explaining to do. Virginia over Pitt. What happened there, man?
Ooh, boy, that defense. They can't stop nobody. I talked to Coach Laster. I said, man, the defense, the offense looks great. They been struggling. They're a little banged up, but that defense, they can't. They look like the Falcons defense. They can't tackle nobody.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, the Falcons defense in the second half of that New Orleans game did everything they could to keep us in that game, and I'm still firmly in the position of we had no business winning that game. But when you miss 3 field goals, man, that's just. I mean, what game can you win when you miss 3 field goals? I mean, it's just unbelievable that ended up happening.
Coup.
Yeah. Poor Coup is right. You saw him with Arthur Blank. Some of the memes.
They're eating that food. He shouldn't have ate nothing till after the game.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. That freaking stinks. When it's, especially if it's your team too. Like I try not to start so many Falcons because I'm too emotionally invested. But when not only the Falcons lose and then they're on your fantasy team, you're like, oh God, or whatever your team is. That's a hard feeling right there. So hard, but you know what? At least the Falcons are still 2 games up in the division and own the tiebreaker against the Bucks. All right, before we get into our walk of shame and our victory laps here, because we got a couple. We got 1 walk of shame and I see 2 victory laps here. I wanted to get an update on the standings there, Dan Z, because I always forget to get those updates on the standings. And you make this wonderful graphic there. for those that actually watch Sports Pod here. Look at there you go for those watching right now. So go on and give us that update on the standings there.
All right. Alex keeps chipping away slowly in there. He's only one behind Mike, but he still in the back with 68 wins. Mike at 69. Nicole had a rough week at 71 wins. And Jared and I still one game apart. Jared at 80 and I'm at 81.
Well, listen, this week, the games that we have coming up, I think that there's certainly some room for separation between these games here. So if people don't know what the walk of shame is, our new listeners here, for any sports potter that picked against everybody on the show and got it wrong, they have to do a walk of shame begging for forgiveness here. Nicole chose Vanderbilt over South Carolina. Mistake right there. You know, you rode the hot hand there, or at least thought you were on that one. And then we have 2 victory laps, which is the opposite. If a sports potter picks against his fellow sports potters or her fellow sports potters and gets it right, then you get to just gloat and say whatever the hell you want about your team in that moment there. So Nicole, I think you're ready for your walk of shame. Are you not?
I'm born ready.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Your 30 seconds to beg for forgiveness, especially to MikeB and to Alex, who have ties to South Carolina, mind you. You offended them. We'll see whether or not I saw that Gamecock right there. We'll see whether or not you guys ultimately give the thumbs up or not to Nicole. All right. Your 30 seconds start now.
Well, guys, I've had a lot of walks of shame this season, so I took some notes last time around, and I'm not going to make excuses. It's like Jared said, I was kind of riding the hot hand on the Vanderbilt train. Diego Pavia, slip and slide, and he could not get past defense on Saturday to save his life. And I'm going to go with what MikeB said. I'm going to beg for forgiveness. Sellers controlled the possession. Their whole momentum of the season has shifted, and I'm falling on my sword. I didn't see it coming, and Sellers is the real deal. He really is.
Wow, the real deal. Okay, that's I thumbs up from me right there.
It's me really trying. And
thumbs up from Dan right there. Thumbs up from MikeB. All right, wow, thumbs up.
Bobby is too distracted with his lawsuit to be playing good football.
Oh no, what happened?
Which one is this one?
For another year of eligibility.
He's suing the
NCAA or something. Oh,
that's right. Yes.
Well, he needs to be focusing on what he's doing on the field there. So Vanderbilt fell out of the AP top 25 because of that loss there, and Nicole looked really dumb because that was a complete spanking there from USC taking care of Vanderbilt there. All right, now we have 2 victory laps here. Obviously, my victory lap was not as impressive as Dan's here. Dan picked Ole Miss over Georgia, and I picked Coastal over App State. I will go on and get mine out of the way. So, Dan, you get a warm up over there. So here we go. Let me make sure that this is coming in both speakers there for those at home. There we go. All right, now let me start it over again. All right. For those of you that didn't pick App State, number one, this is a rivalry game between Coastal and App State. It started up about 3 years ago. That teal field is incredibly hard to play on. And the head coach for Coastal chugged a beer on SportsCenter before the game. How could you not pick with me on that one? I am supposed to be the influencer of you guys here as the host of this show. And with my confidence that I radiate throughout this show, you should have picked with me. And App State's not as good this year.
On your good pick.
Thank you, Sally, for that right there. All right, now Dan, you get your 30 seconds to gloat for picking Ole Miss over Georgia. Take it easy on those Dogs fans over there. Here we go.
This was a tough one. Lane normally doesn't show up in the big games, but he did this time. I just had a feeling this is not the Georgia teams we have seen in the past. They are vulnerable, and teams can see it. They don't control the line of scrimmage. They don't control the run as they've done in the past. They got after him. They had 5 sacks by Ole Miss, 9 tackles for loss. And Ole Miss almost had 400 yards of offense. So the defense was put in bad positions, but they really were just outgunned both sides of the game. And Ole Miss, Lane was ready for this game after last year.
Congrats.
That's right.
Good pick.
All right. Well done there. So you don't have to ask for any kind of forgiveness. I do want to pull up this audio, though, real quick of the Coastal Carolina coach chugging a beer. This was a great moment right here. I know it happened on Thursday last week, but I sent it to you guys, and I was loving it here. Listen to this.
All right. We're going to finish it off with a Crazy Sister beer.
Do we got to rinse it down with the blonde
Yeah,
ale?
you have to. Sorry about that. We're out of water.
This is
You know what?
Heard the beer crack. chugging the beer.
I can hear the bosses now. You know what? You guys, I'll be the adult. It is time. 1, 2, go.
That's a cool moment right there.
I went to Arizona State. I don't need to prove anything. If I do, coach, go. There you go.
Coach Tim Beck there of Coastal Carolina, being a man of the people right there, chugging a beer right before the game. I love it right there. Might be so. You lost your connection with Coastal here. I figured you would be picking with me last week on that game. What happened there?
Yeah, all my coaches are gone. I don't really care. Grayson's gone, and he's not doing well, and I think he's had to step away from football now over at North Carolina State. Maybe I should have picked with you. I felt App State was on a roll. It is hard to play on that field. That rivalry did start in it was that 2020 when Jamie was there, head coach of now the Liberty Flames, and they upset App State after App State were the reigning Sun Belt champs. And I was showing a video of the interception when my coach that's at UCF was the DB coach, and they took it all the way to the house. Yeah.
Well,
I was there in the box. I was there in the box.
Yeah, it's just it's cool when you know somebody there. It's cool to see new rivalries develop in the sport, and they even had number one, they had a full house there at Coastal Carolina. The stadium can't seat more than 30,000 people, but they are embracing the rivalry, and they also had Darth Vader dressed up as as App State and had their own mascot fighting them beforehand. It was a cool moment.
Jared, is this his second victory lap right now? I feel like this is
no,
on and on.
Oh, he did the first one? Oh, okay.
You want to do another one? I can do another one. I was happy.
Touchdown, Chanticleer.
That's right.
That was classic. That was classic.
Tim Beck was the offensive coordinator for the High State Buckeyes when they won the national championship.
Oh, okay.
I remember that name. I was like, I know that.
Well, there's a lot of
nice chicken beers at Coastal. They're good for him.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
We've had both sides of the Beck, guys. We've had the bad Beck and the good Beck. So this is there's a lot. That last name has certainly been used a lot on this week's Sports Pod here. All right, now let's get into the picks here because I got a Friday game here, 9:00 kick. UCLA at Washington. Spread is only 3.5. I don't know what the hell these teams are this year. I mean, UCLA's up, Washington's up, and then they're down. Both of them are all over the place. I love the Friday night showdown. Obviously, both teams are fighting for better bowl positioning here. MikeB, why don't you just kick us off here?
I'm gonna take the Huskies. They play well. They play not so good. They're at home. It's Friday night, and it's a night game. I'm gonna take the Huskies. Go Washington.
The pick.
I like it. Riding with the Huskies there. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Huskies. I think UCLA, their quarterback's thrown already 11 interceptions this year. He's on trend with Carson Beck. Just saying. Washington's got to do some work after going cross country and getting whooped by Penn State. So, yeah, I'm going Huskies.
The pick is in.
I'm also going the Huskies. It's at home. Really one of the cool environments. You can tailgate from your boat.
That's true.
It's a fun one. So I think the Huskies at home will win. Yeah, it's
The
right on the
pick is
water, and
in.
people pull up their boats and tailgate. Yeah.
That is my kind of atmosphere right there. All right.
The pick is in.
Nicole, why are you picking UCLA?
I am not, because one, I'm going to try to avoid another walk of shame at all costs this week. And two, I think there's strength at home on this one. I'm going with the Huskies for sure.
The pick is
Well,
in.
guys, the spread's only 3.5 for this one. Are we really going to make a sports pod sweep here? I was riding with Washington from
The
the beginning.
pick is
Good look
in.
at my notes here. That's a sports pod sweep for the Huskies. Watch, we typically get one wrong. We actually, I think, are on a streak now of 2 weeks in a row where we haven't gotten one completely wrong altogether as a group here. So we'll see if that trend continues. Noon kick here. This again will be on Saturday the 16th. Number 17 Clemson takes on Pittsburgh. Pitt has been a great story this season. You know, I know it's tough to lose to Virginia last weekend, but in this case here, this is good story meets legacy. Does Dabo and his current legacy prove to be enough to down Pitt? What do you think there, Dan?
Yes. I think MikeB said it best. That Pitt defense can't stop nothing. And Cade Klubnik's having a great season. 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He can run the ball too. Is it Mufa, the running back for Clemson? He's almost got 1,000 yards. So the offense has been pretty good for Clemson, minus that Georgia game. So I think Clemson is really trying to get themselves in the ACC championship game. So I think that they're going to get the win.
The pick is in.
There is one for Clemson. You with Dan there, Alex?
Yeah, I am. I like Pitt. I do. I enjoyed having their coaches on. You know, I just kind of like Dan said, I just kind of think it's a perfect storm. I just think Clemson's offense is too good for their struggling defense. Clemson.
The pick is in.
What about you, Mike B?
Let's go. The Clemson will make it loss number 3. For family, I'm gonna be cheering Pitt for my picks. Clemson will be in the ACC championship. They are 6-1 in the conference. They had the big loss to Georgia, of course, beginning of the season. They've only lost to Louisville. Interesting loss, but the quarterback looks good. Running back looks good. But I just can't see Pitt, even at home, really putting up a fight. I'm gonna be rooting for them, but I think Clemson's gonna go in and just secure their spot in the ACC championship.
The pick
That's
is
perfectly
in.
important right there. The picks are life right here on Sports Pod. If you don't get your pick right, then you know that you didn't do right in life. Isn't that right, Nicole?
Yep. I'm with Mike B though. I'm going to root for the Panthers. I really am, but I think Clemson on this one for sure.
The pick
I
is
agree.
in.
I agree. Pitt's a great story. I would be so happy to be wrong on this one, but got to ride with the Tigers. I'd like to see Dabo get a shot in the NFL. I think that's what I would like to see, and he needs one more loss to do that, and he needs to avoid the ACC championship. So Mike B, no, I don't want to see Clemson in the ACC championship because I want to see freaking Dabo coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars next year. That would be freaking fun next year. That's another Sports Pod. Sweep.
Freaking fail. He don't need to go to the NFL.
He probably will. And I think that's
more money at Clemson than he would in the NFL.
I think
that
he would.
part.
I would say Clemson is still a top 8
Our
program.
pod sweep. So hopefully we get this wrong. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Clemson was one of them we got wrong 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Against Louisville, for some reason, plays well on the road. They can't. They don't play well at home, but they play well on the road. Noon kick here. Another one. Utah at Colorado. Nicole's Utes barely lost to and I'm talking about barely. This game was great. It was a great game. I actually had this game on after watching Tennessee take care of Mississippi State.
War.
That's right.
That's what it's called.
And
yeah, that's the name of the game.
But Mike B's Buffs, dare I say it, have a quote path to the playoffs. Who wins, Mike B?
Mike B is ready for them Buffs.
They don't have a path to this win. But I did say this publicly today to some Deion fans, because I told them you're not Colorado Buffalo fans, you're Deion fans. And I said that out loud and I say it publicly. They beat Utah and they will be playing BYU for the Big 12 championship. I'm calling that right now. Colorado Buffaloes will beat Utah this weekend. I don't want to see it, but that's going to happen. Road to the playoff, no. Good bowl game for Deion, yes. Big 12 championship, Colorado beats the Utes.
The pick is in.
And add on the end, Auburn head coach next year.
He's going to Dallas. Dallas Cowboys.
I would not be surprised if it went to Dallas either at this point.
Shadar going to New Orleans. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy looks awful right now in Dallas. Go ahead there, Alex.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colorado here. They haven't scored. You got to look at the opponent. They haven't scored less than 30 points in their last 5. Utah hasn't scored 30 points in their last 5. I just think Colorado's offense is gonna be too much for them. Their defense is good enough to stop Utah, Colorado.
The pick is in.
All right, Nicole, you're right with your Utes, right?
I really want to, but
I know, Nicole, me too.
I really want to, because their defense, it's no joke. It's not. I think it's going to be
BYU last week.
I know. So I think the spread's a little high for me, but I got to go with the Buffaloes, Colorado on this one.
The pick is in.
If you want any of Nicole's gambling advice, we'll give you her her Instagram information. You can get all the highs and lows on things. Dan, who you got?
This is not the season we expected from Utah this year. I mean, they started off 4-0 and they've lost 5 straight.
Yeah.
And the last 3 have been they lost by 5, 3, and 1. So
they've been some close losses.
That hurts.
So those are some close losses. That hurts. But that being said, Colorado has been playing well lately and has been rolling, especially on the offensive side. I do think Colorado wins. I do think there is a path for them to the playoffs. If they beat BYU, they win the conference. They're in. So there is a chance. That being said, they're going to get spanked once in the playoffs because the Big 12 ain't very good. But I think Colorado wins this one.
The pick is
all right.
in.
You want to make another sports pod?
The pick is in.
Sweep.
We can get that one wrong too. Come on, Utah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I'm
Utah's.
fine with that one.
I think Utah's going to be surprisingly good, and this one's going to be closer. Colorado's defense has tightened up as the season has gone on. But again, Travis Hunter, man, you can't say that guy's got to be the number one. I know people are like, Shadir should be number one. No, Travis Hunter is the best player in the country right now. So I would take him over Shadir at this point. All right, so now we get into the games again, where we did these in order of importance, at least in my opinion here. Cincinnati at Iowa State. The Cyclones have fallen from grace. Will their decline continue at home with a loss to the Bearcats, Nicole?
No, I don't think so. I think that they're playing for pride at this point, and it's at Iowa State. Fans are going to show up, and I don't think they're going to lose this one.
The pick is
All
in.
right, give me the Cyclones as well in this one
The
too.
pick is in.
They're just, they're losing these close games, and I would love for Cincinnati to come in there and just shake things up a little bit, but it is tough to play there, and their defense is a little bit understated here. What do you think there, Dan?
I agree. They're back home, so that'll be a help as well. Cincinnati is just not very good this year. So I think Cyclones get back on track. They get a win here. They're not theoretically out of it yet. So if Colorado loses and stumbles in there, they can maybe sneak into that other team into the Big 12. So there's still something to play for.
Yeah.
But I think the Cyclones
A little bit of light there.
Yeah. Not
The
much.
pick is in.
Light at the end of the tunnel. Enough for you to pick the Bearcats there, Alex?
No. I've seen
pick is in.
Cincinnati play a big game when they thought they were good enough for big boy football. And
Okay, there's no need to dwell.
That wasn't Cincinnati's fault. That was Riddler's fault. He did to the Falcons too. So.
it's true, but
I try to forget.
I still think Cincinnati.
No, he still won until they played the big boy football. So no hate
Yeah,
on him. He
you're
didn't
right.
make it. He didn't do well in the pros, but they won. Let's
He's
call it what it
DoorDashing.
is. now. Call it what it is.
He's door dashing.
Leave it tip.
Mhm.
No, Cyclones.
Okay, Cyclones there. What about you there, Mike B?
Yeah, Cyclone. I'm with Nicole. I think they're playing for pride. I don't think they expected to take this loss to Kansas, but they are still in it in the conference. There's a few 4-2 teams, Kansas State, who we are big followers of. They're still not, still not out of it either. But I think the Cyclones take care of the Bearcats. They don't look that great. The few wins that they got them by luck, especially when they beat my Knights in Orlando. Whatever. Go Cyclones.
The pick is in.
Not salty at all, still, right?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
5 o'clock kick down. Now we're getting the real
That's a
games
sweep.
here.
That's
No, that's a sweep.
Excuse me.
We're really
See, this is the
sleeping these picks.
yeah, we really are. Let's see if we sweep this one here. This is a 5 o'clock game here. I like this one. Arkansas State at Georgia State. A nice sunset game in the ATL. Spread is only 2.5 at the old Turner Field. Who prevails there, Dan Z?
I'm gonna go Arkansas State. Don't know much about this one, but they are 5-4, and Georgia State is 2-7. So I'm going.
The pick
Red
is
Wolves.
in.
Okay, going with the Red Wolves there. What about you there, Alex Williams?
Yeah, I'm going Red Wolves. Georgia State's lost at least 5 in a row. Yeah, I don't know anything
in.
about Red Wolves.
Okay, Mike B.
Who the hell picked this damn game?
Spread is only 2.5. This is in the ATL sunset game here. People
Oregon
are
playing
talking college
Wisconsin. That might be way more interesting than that. Who in the hell picked this
People
game?
might be talking. This is where the misfits that can't go to college game day in Athens, they're going to be going to downtown Atlanta to watch Arkansas State take on Georgia State at the old Turner Field. Tell us why you're taking Georgia State there, Mike B.
Ain't nobody gonna be in that damn stadium. Go Arkansas State.
The pick is in.
Nicole Bennett.
Turn it into a parking
Oh
lot.
gosh. I mean, ESPN Predictor says Georgia State, but I'm with you guys in that I'm looking at everybody, the expert picks and the record, and
Nicole, you
I
are
don't
an expert.
wanna-
We don't need
Pick
other
Georgia
people to
State,
tell
Nicole.
you.
Go ahead.
I don't want to do another walk of shame.
Won't be the last. It's okay.
My gut says Arkansas State. I think they got this one.
The pick is
Fine.
in.
I'll stand on an island by myself.
Go ahead.
Panthers
in.
take care of business in Atlanta. 5 o'clock sunset game. That is a hostile environment there at Turner Field right there. I think you guys will
Well,
allow
that
me.
is
Not the
It
name
was
of that stadium.
there.
You need to say it correctly.
Center Park. Stadium.
It'll always be Turner Field to me.
Over
That
under
is Center Park Stadium. I bank with them. They are now proud partners with Atlanta Postal Credit Union. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I still
Say
call
the
it
name
Truist Park,
correct.
SunTrust Park up in
You're gonna lose all this money. We can get all these sponsorships. You messing us up.
I'm always having to turn the sponsors away here for sports. all the freaking time, all the people reaching out about it. All right, the 2:30 game here. Michigan State at Illinois. Spread is only 2.5. Like, I'm pretty shocked at this game. Big Ten matchup. Illinois has gone cold of late. Will Champagne be flowing in Champagne? I'm saying yes. I think Illinois takes care of business in this game. I like that roster. I'm amazed that they're struggling as much as they are. What about you, Nicole?
I agree. Give me some champagne. That sounds good.
The pick is in.
Champagne and Champagne. What about you there, Alex?
Well, Champagne for the campaign. Michigan State sucks.
The pick is in.
Illinois.
Okay, all right. 3 for Illinois. Spread's only 2.5, guys. What about you there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Fighting Illini. I know we had trouble saying that last time. Fighting Illini. The quarterback still is putting up decent stats, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They had 2 losses. The Minnesota one, I think, was a little bit of a surprise, but Oregon was expected. I think they get back on track, and they beat Sparty, who's not very good this year.
The pick is in.
All right, that's 4 for the Fighting Illini. Why are you taking the Spartans there, Mike B?
I'm taking the Spartans because who the hell plays for them? Who the coach? I'm going with Illinois. Don't forget that loss to Penn State. They started 4-0, and then they took a loss to Penn State. Overtime win with Purdue, beat Michigan, Oregon. That's number 1 team in the country right now. And the Golden Gophers. You never know who you're gonna play when you play the damn Golden Gophers. They show up, don't show up, whatever. Illinois at home, Michigan State. I don't even know. Why another damn game? Why we pick this game?
2.5 point spread on this one, man. So,
No.
Mike B's making the list next week.
Go Illinois.
all right. Ride with the Illini.
Yeah, I'm riding with them. Go Illinois.
All right, that makes a sports pod. Sweet.
Which
All
means
right.
we'll get the Colorado one wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, if it means getting a couple of these wrong here. Again, at this pace, we are definitely going to get one wrong. All right, 10:15. We got Kansas traveling to BYU, number 7 BYU at that. BYU's they've been in survival mode with a target on their back over the past couple of weeks. I mean, over the past couple of weeks, they have eked out some victories here. Do they remain perfect, or do the Jayhawks have some caffeine for those Mormons? What do you think there, Dan?
Ooh, Kansas is starting to show the team that we thought we were going to see at the beginning of the year. They started the season ranked, lost Illinois, and just kind of like really bad start. But a nice win last week against Iowa State. But you got to go on the road and you got to go to BYU. And BYU's been tough at home. They're undefeated this year, so I think you got to ride with the Cougars. I'm going BYU.
The pick is in.
1 for BYU. What about you, Mike B?
This could be an upset. BYU, when they get this late game, tend to take one at home, and this could be it. Jalen Daniels could really upset, but I'm really rocking with the Cougars right now, and I think beating Utah, that's an in-state rivalry. Utah, look, they the church people, they the Mormons. Utah out there doing what they want to do. Utah, they beat them. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They took the win. I think BYU stays undefeated. They are representing the Big 12 in the championship. Let's go.
Oh,
The pick is
wow.
in.
All right. Brave words right there. What about you, Alex?
I mean, it's
He's
like
going Kansas.
Come
well,
on,
it's kind
ride
of
the
like
Jayhawks.
what Mike B was saying. Like what you were saying as well, Jared. BYU's hanging on; they're still winning. Like what Dan said, Kansas is starting to come to their own. You know what? I want this one beat up. Say, give them the Jayhawks.
Oh, there we go.
Whoa!
Jump into the Hawks over there. I like it. I like it. And also, too, remember, the basketball team, since basketball has started, the Jayhawks are number 1 in the country, and they've been winning. And sometimes that competitive nature ends up passing over to the football team. It's like, hey, if the basketball team is winning, then the football team better step
goes
up
to
there a little.
Kansas to play basketball. I never understood.
It's all been coaching right there. Coaching that has made that a program. What about you, Nicole? Who are you taking?
Well, I'm really excited because my gut said the Jayhawks in an upset, and then I got nervous because I was like, well, I don't want to do a walk of shame though. So now I don't have to worry about it, and I'm going with the Jayhawks on this one.
All right, Nicole.
The pick
All right,
is
there
in.
we go. Riding together. I'm going with
That's right.
BYU.
The pick is
Hard to
in.
beat the Mormons at home right there, though they could sneak them a little caffeine and then they would be disqualified. from that game.
And from school and everything else.
That's right. Get them kicked out of there. Out of the old BYU. They're a good story though. I'm with Mike B. I like what BYU's doing, and I would
love the coach. Love the coach.
For college football, it would be great to see them in the college football playoff too. I think.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great for everything if they just lost? Wouldn't that just be like, son of a bitch, here we go again?
No.
It would be the chaos all over again, and probably
come on, Mike B.
Their coach, I love how calm he is when they go to him with his second quarter, right before halftime, after halftime. They could be like the confidence, and it's not arrogance. He's not arrogant, he's not cocky, but he has so much confidence in those guys. Because Utah was looking really good on Saturday. And I don't know if it was third quarter, whenever they got him on right after halftime, before halftime, and his just real laid back, and he was like, yeah, he gave Utah their credit, and said, but my guy, they're gonna be fine. My guys are gonna be fine. He is so cool, calm, and collected. They can't lose this season. Good coach.
Okay, all right, I like it. I'm riding the Mike B train on this one. I think it's good for football if BYU remains undefeated. All right, 3:30 kick here, number 15 LSU at Florida. Billy Napier appears to have kept his job at Florida, to the dismay of many of my friends that are Florida fans. They hate this guy. What needs to happen for Florida to upset LSU in the Swamp? LSU, they still, as we mentioned at the top of the show, they still hypothetically could be in the SEC championship. They don't have the clearest path to the SEC championship, but they could be there. Mike B, you are shaking your head. You are being emotive. Who are you taking here?
I'm taking LSU, but please. They're gonna play a nice bowl game. That's what Coach Kelly do. Play a nice bowl game. Have a great day.
Nice bowl game there for LSU. What about you, Nicole? Is it going to be a nice bowl game for LSU?
Yes, I think it's going to be a nice bowl game for LSU, but I'm going with LSU in this game. We still don't know if Lagway is going to be back, hamstring injury. I just think even though the Napier news, I thought, well, that could give them some momentum, having that kind of maybe solidified, but I got to go with LSU on this one.
The pick is in.
All right, going with LSU there. What about you, Alex? You feeling a little bit groovy here? You feeling like riding a little bit of the upset wave here, the Florida wave?
Yeah. As long as LSU don't bring that live tiger, they'll be okay. That didn't work out too well.
It did not. In fact, I think for most of the LSU alumni, they're probably like, let's leave the tiger in Florida here. Maybe it caused a little bad luck there making that happen. Dan, what about you, buddy?
Both teams coming in 2 losses the last 2 weeks. Both got killed last week. I got a weird feeling this is a trap game. I think the Gators are going to win this game. LSU's coming on a 2-game losing streak. They've gotten whooped the last 2 weeks. I think they're thinking we're going to get back on track. Kelly lost that team. They don't look good. His press conference is all like, we had a bye week. We should have been ready. And look, we didn't do nothing. It's like, well, that's on you. All right. So, that's on you, Brian Kelly. So I don't know. I think maybe this Napier solidifying the team will rally around this. I think Gators are going to win this game.
Okay. I like it. It's your pick. You ride with it there. Now, here's my logic here in this game. This is why I'm taking LSU, because number one, the tiger initially came from Florida, right? They didn't bring a tiger from Louisiana. That's a mistake there. That's a mistake. You don't bring a tiger from another state. You need to bring the tiger from your.
You get it from what's his name?
From Joe Exotic.
Yeah, Joe
from Oklahoma.
yeah, he's from Oklahoma. This tiger came from Florida all the way over to Louisiana. LSU loses. The tiger returns to Florida. LSU goes to Florida. So therefore, the bad juju is over right there. The voodoo is over. LSU wins the game. The tiger is home, and therefore helps the LSU Tigers in the Swamp. Give me LSU.
All right. I'm calling Peter. That's what I'm gonna do.
The fact they did that, they were trying to scare
the Gators. Need that tiger.
They were trying to scare the piss out of all those Alabama fans down there. All right, down to 2 games here. 4:15 kick. I know this will get Mike B and Alex Williams excited. Number 24, Missouri at number 23, South Carolina. Which teams do we see this week? All the pressure, South Carolina is favored, but Missouri has surprised many, including myself. I thought they've been a mirage all season. And of course, they end up taking care of business last week and get back into the AP top 25. We know you're going with South Carolina. Why are you going with South Carolina there, Alex?
The Norris Sellers Williams-Brice Stadium, and Sandstorm. That's all I got.
Okay, fair
The
enough.
puck is
Now,
in.
Mike B, I see you making the Gamecock sign over there to yourself. All right, why are you riding with the Cocks?
They are on fire. Lenore Sellers is back, like William said, and also too, if you know, Missouri has had South Carolina's number, and they beat them in Columbia. Like they beat them at Williams-Brice Stadium. I've gone to that game twice, and it's like so excited. I've gone to that game when Debo was still in the league. Like it's so excited the first half, and then the second half, Missouri, because Missouri has some really good bulk on the defensive line, and the offense just overpowers them. Not this year. Go Gamecocks. Double lock.
The pick
Oh,
is
double
in.
lock. You got it. All right, Sally, come on.
The pick is in.
All right, thank you, Sally. Sally is double locked that one. I love it right there. I love the enthusiasm. All right, now the voices of reason here because they have no ties here. You got Nicole and Dan here. All right, we'll let Dan go first. Oh, no, I'll take the pressure off Nicole. Nicole's been by herself a lot. Nicole, you go first here.
Okay. I'm kind of going back to my walk of shame, and I'm like, did I say Sellers is the real thing? I was really trying for you guys and your forgiveness, so I'm kind of throwing up in my mouth on that one. But I do think
I bet
that
Georgia would love to have him. Don't do that.
So you're saying there's a
look, I
chance.
gotta at some point I do have to admit the teams that I, despise and the ones that I root for. And while they're not one of them, I do think they're gonna win this game. So
Okay.
yes.
All
I'm
right,
going
so
with
you're
Sellers.
taking South Carolina. Okay,
The
all right.
pick is in.
Let's get her
Not
tailgating
picking
one of the
against them.
cabooses down there, Mike.
That's right.
There we go. 3 for South
I'm gonna
Carolina.
call John Abraham this weekend. Let me call John.
You riding with the Mirage over there, Missouri there, Dan Z.
We know my thoughts on Missouri. I think they're frauds. The fact that they're still ranked in the top 24 is beyond me. When South Carolina is favored by 12, you should not be ranked ahead of them. This is stupid. South Carolina could realistically be 8-1. They lost to Alabama by 2, and they should have beat LSU. So they've been
Oh my
really
gosh.
competitive all year long. I think the Gamecocks are going to keep it rolling. And I think they're going to cover that spread. They'll beat Missouri by more than 12.
My man. Is that a
pick
double
is in.
lock?
Double lock.
Okay, I
pick
love
is
it.
in.
Double locks around there. All right, let's make it a sports pod sweep. Give me the
The pick
Cocks
is
in this
in.
one.
That's
Woo,
right.
Sports pod sweep.
We didn't time that one great.
We did not. Hey, all right, hold on. For everybody watching here, we'll do it all together. It's time for a sports pod. There we go. All right, see, we do everything live here on the
Damn it,
show.
That's right.
Thank you very much. all this damn delays and everything like that. All right, before we get to the last pick, what you know, it's the game of the week. 7:30 kick, number 6 Tennessee at number 11 UGA. Before we get to that pick here, I got to give some love to Atlanta United. Oh my God, nobody expect them to take down the top seed in the MLS East right here, taking down Miami, taking down Messi. Here's the call.
Hernandez trying to work this across and just over the head where it's taken here by Atlanta again. Amador works this ball in and the shot is in. Bartosz Slić and Atlanta have stunned Chase Stadium again. They regain the lead in the 76th minute.
And the final
They'll
call.
play it across. Takes a deflection. Atlanta trying to see this out, and indeed they will. A stunner in the opening round of the MLS Cup playoffs. The kings of the regular season are gone.
Congratulations to Atlanta United. We are playing with house money. This has been a magical yet just fun end of the season now. They now take on Orlando FC in Orlando this Sunday at 3:30. Should be a lot of fun, especially for those locally here in the Atlanta area. Go to your watch party, support them because the Falcons will come on right after that as well, too, at 4:30, taking on the Broncos this weekend. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. 7:30 kick, number 6 Tennessee at number 11 Georgia. College game days there. I believe all the pressure is on the Dogs with their playoff hopes, especially with Carson Beck. It has been a tale of two Becks this season. The bad Beck we've seen for the last couple of weeks now. If that Beck shows up, there's no way that they beat the Vols in this game. Can they hold off Josh Heupel and the surprising Tennessee Vols? We know that Nicole is a Dogs fan, so why are the Dogs winning here?
Well, it's like you said, which team is going to show up? The one that beat Texas or the one that stumbled against Ole Miss? I think we're going to play super angry. I think we know how much this game means. Guys, the turnovers can't happen. Offense needs to show up, just like defense has been starting to show up more. So I'm going with the Dogs on this one. Go Dogs!
The pick
All right,
is
we
in.
knew you were taking the dogs here because you are, again, fair warning for those just tuning in. Nicole is a UGA grad, so she's going to ride with her dogs, which makes sense. Okay, Alex Williams, riding from the Alabama perspective here. You hate both these teams equally, Tennessee and Georgia. You probably wish that both of them could lose. Who are you taking in this one?
I'll be honest with you right now. I'm going strictly home field. If this game was in Knoxville, I'd be taking Tennessee. I'm going Georgia.
The pick
I
is
think
in.
home field is going to be a big one.
2 for the dogs here. Mike B, are your fellow sports potters swaying you over to UGA side, or are you going to be rogue and going with Tennessee?
I put my pick in. Dogs.
The pick
Double
is
lock.
Double lock.
I'm sorry.
The pick is in.
That'd be a
I
triple
just don't
lock
see it.
since you locked
That's
at the
right.
beginning of the year. Okay, I
I'll
like
make
it.
it 4. Quadruple.
A quadruple lock. I
pick
like
is
it.
in.
The people are forgetting too that Nico was a little bit banged up in the Mississippi State game, and the running back for Tennessee, Sampson, was also banged up as well too. I'm concerned about the depth of Tennessee in this game. Does that sway you there, Dan, in your pick?
I'm still trying to figure this one out. Tennessee's defense actually has been really good, strong this year. They've held Bill Rowe in that game, made him look normal. But other games they really haven't given up a lot of points. The most I've seen this year is like 18. Like they haven't given up a lot. So I think they can get after Beck, and if they take the same blueprint that
Florida
Ole Miss just did. My only concern is what you mentioned is it Sampson going to be out? I think Nico said he was in concussion protocol, but he practiced today, but they're not sure.
Yeah, I think
if he's going to play or they're just playing games. Maybe
I think so, but it could be wrong.
But then the scares me is Vegas has Georgia -10, so it always like makes you wonder what does Vegas know that we don't. But I've been very good at gambling this year, so I'm not going with Vegas. I'm going Tennessee. I think they're going to go in there. I think they're going to run the ball down Georgia's throat, and they're going to control the time of possession, and they're going to get after Beck, and Beck's going to continue to keep throwing picks. Tennessee wins.
Wow.
The pick is
Okay.
in.
All right. There is
man.
one
Go
for
Vols.
Tennessee.
That's why he's the commissioner.
And we will
Sports pod bedlam.
see this is
Man.
why this is going to be epic here. It is a night game, and Tennessee.
Just remember you sleep.
I know. Listen, my wife is a Tennessee Vol, and I will never hear the end of it.
Might
in
be the
this game.
couch soon.
It might be, but I have to realize that picks are life
Yeah,
here
true.
on the show,
She's gotta understand that.
and she would understand me picking this game. I just Kirby Smart and the Kirby era. I can't think of him ever losing back-to-back games. Has he ever lost back-to-back games, Nicole?
That you yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've
so.
seen the spot.
No,
he has.
I
has
don't
not.
think I don't think he's ever lost back-to-back games.
No.
But for some reason, though, ever since that hit that Nico took in that Alabama game, he has been a different quarterback. If he plays, Tennessee wins this game. Right with the Vols by 3 in this one.
The pick is in.
I should be. If Beck had been playing better, I think the blueprint is out there to beat him. It could be. It's either going to be a Georgia blowout or Tennessee wins barely by like.
He's
2 or
such a
3.
married man. That's so nice.
No, I promise you. If Beck, I mean, again, what were those numbers there? What were those numbers over the past couple of games? Did you have it there?
He had 12 interceptions over the last 6
He's
games.
scared.
Yeah. So it's just
That Tennessee defense has been good, but my also concern on the same side is Nico hasn't been that great either. So I could see him throwing like 3 interceptions.
After watching that game carefully against Alabama, he got hit really hard, got knocked out of the game. Moore came in against Alabama a couple weeks ago, and he looked like a different
live rankings coming in right now.
A different quarterback. Oh yeah, we are.
Can I just say South Carolina is in the rankings, you guys. They were not ranked last week, and they are number 21 in the CFP rankings this week. So
very good.
I think they're listening to the Sports Pod. The committee is. That's probably what it is.
I
Right?
call Beamer.
There you go.
It literally is
Hey,
coming
Shane,
in.
let me talk to you.
It literally is coming in live
Georgia is out
as we speak. Yeah, Georgia is out as of right now. Boise
Yep.
State is in. Hey, we'll post some of these up on our different socials. You'll post them up there, Nicole, right?
Roll Tide, beat Mercer.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
All right, Nicole will post the updated standings up on our socials. It's Sports Pod ATL and the Sports Pod on Facebook. All of us have got our socials. I'm Jared Yamamoto on all my various socials out there. Dan Z, how to get people get more of you?
I'm on Insta at DZirger21.
Insta A_Will24.
All right, MikeB.
Saturday mornings on 95.5 WSB and Channel 2 Action News
He's-
Saturday
he's-
AM.
He's got that big TV money over there. What about you there, Nicole?
At Nikki Ben on X. There you go.
Nikki Ben on X right there. Again,
That's right.
any gambling advice, Nicole will answer any DM any time of day, and she'll give you the over and under and all the different gambling out there.
Ole Miss popping in there.
I see Ole Miss is in the playoff as of right now. We will make sure to post all this on our Sports Spot social. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Play along with our picks at home, but make sure you pick responsibly and make sure you don't get behind the wheel of a car if your team lost. That's not a good idea.
Or just in Athens in general.
That's right. Easy there, Alex. You're going to make me crack up here.
Hey.
All right. You guys have a blessed rest of your week. Go Sports.
Go Dogs.